What if I told you your next big deal is right here on your phone, in your contacts? Not at a networking event or on LinkedIn, but right here inside your phone. Think about how hard you've worked over the years to build those contacts. We're gonna leverage that now. We're gonna get the most out of that. These are people that know you, like you, and trust you. I made a big mistake doing this, and I'm gonna tell you what I did wrong, just so you don't do that again. More importantly, how do I fix it? I'm Todd Paton. Don't miss this episode of The Daily Grind.
When most people start a company, they're spending money on all the wrong things. They're spending time and money on business cards, logos, t-shirts, anything at all. But what the most important thing is clients. How do you get new clients? And that's what we're going to talk about in this episode of The Daily Grind, getting new clients. Your contacts are gold. I mean, that's where everybody should start. So if you start a business today, people say, oh, you know what? I'll spend my time. I'm building a new company. I'll spend my time. I'll write the blogs. I'll do the social media posts. I'll do this. And you add all this stuff up and it's free. I did it. Didn't cost any money. But no, it's not free at all. So what I recommend you do is figure out time in a day that you're working. So let's say you're going to work 14 hours a day, right? And you're spending 8 hours of that 14 hours working on these things, and you could outsource that. So if you could outsource something like writing a blog or doing social media, if you can outsource that for $7 or $8 or $10 an hour, and you're doing it, you're valuing yourself at $10 an hour. So I think the first thing you do, and when you start a business, is identify what your strengths are. What are you good at? And the ultimate goal is new business. How do we get new clients coming in? And what are you good at? So map those out. And then whatever you're not good at, or whatever somebody else could do for a lot cheaper, hire them, outsource that work. And that's what I did with One Home. Is I built a team, and a lot of them were in the Philippines. I had a few in India, actually all over the world, some in the US. And now with AI, there's a lot of things that can be done without even people. And you could automate a lot of this stuff, like editing. Video editing back in the day was so expensive, and it's not now. Now it's very cost effective. I mean, you could build a team that's an AI agent team, and you don't have anybody talking back to you. You have no salaries, and yeah, you have an expense in the beginning. And that's one of the things we're doing now is we're building a whole AI team with One Home, which that'll be episode probably 12 or 13, but you'll learn about that. And that's going to be really exciting on that. But going back to your first day in business, what are you doing? And it's going to be your contacts. That's the focus. I can't stress this enough. So here's what I did. I found a text service. I looked at my phone and I said, how can I text these people? Because there's 3,500 or something contacts I have in there. How am I going to get in touch with them? And I started sending out individual messages. And I got through about 20 people. And I realized that just took me an hour to do that. So if I'm going to get through 3,500, it's going to take me months. It's just, that's the best way to do it would be to individually send it, because I want it to be personal, but you can't do it. I mean, it would just not be a good use of my time. So I found a service and simple texting, and it was very easy to use, simple, about $100 a month. And you load up your contacts from your phone, and then you send your message out. My message was, first thing was I want to let them know, because most of them are going to think this is spam. A lot of them, remember, I haven't talked to maybe in 5 years. So with 3,500 people, these might be people I met at a networking event 5 years ago that I thought would be valuable enough to save on my phone. But 90% of them probably I have a relationship with or know well, but there's 10% that I still did business with them or work with them or had some relationship with them. I want to help. I want to let them know about this. And I'm not trying to sell anything to them. I'm just letting them know, look, people want to help. People are out there. They want to help you. And if you could now let them know and communicate that, articulate that it's okay to ask for help. There's nothing wrong with that. I sent 30, I think 3,500, we'll call it, contacts, one person gave me a negative reply. One out of 3,500. And it was just overwhelmed. The amount of positive responses were incredible. And, the one person that sent me a negative response, it was, just it goes to show that's not the person that I want to ever deal with. If that person has nothing better than to put a negative comment or negative reply back, that's not the kind of person I want to deal with. I want to separate myself from those types of people. So that was a learning experience too, just knowing that. Glad he did that. Now, I will say there could be big mistakes that are made when you do this, because ultimately we're sending out a mass text message. If you have somebody that maybe had a situation happen, this is not personal. It's very impersonal because I'm sending out a mass text. I'm not happy about that. I don't like that, but sometimes you just have to get things done this way, and unfortunately, you're going to send some that people might go, yeah, listen, this is not the right time, and whatever it is, and it was just, and then you just respond back saying, I'm so sorry. It's a new business I'm starting, and that's it. But outside of those rare situations, people want to support you. They're going to want to help out, and you want to be very, very clear with what to do. My clear objective was download the app for me. Give me your feedback. This is a new business. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And the feedback I got was incredible. It made me do a lot more work, and it made me realize what I thought people wanted isn't the case. It's not necessarily what people want. If I thought everybody would want this feature, which by the way was restaurants, I figured everybody would want to have a restaurant deal. I love restaurant deals. And I put it in there as a deal of the week. Went to like 4 or 5 restaurants, and the responses I got back from people were, take that off. Why do you have restaurants in there? And multiple people told me this. And by the way, thank you to those people for saying that, because everybody always wants to hear just the good things, but how you build something is finding out what's wrong and then fixing it. And a lot of people, overwhelming amount of people, said to me, get rid of that restaurant thing. It's very confusing. It doesn't make sense. So I was wrong, and I got rid of it. And now my deal of the week section is only my vendors, my top vendors. And if there's a really good deal, let's say it's a buy one, get one free car wash, and you're a One Home member, you'll get notified to tell you, hey, we got a buy one, get one in Parkland Golf, because we could geo-target. And then that way I'm not sending out to everybody in the app. But if there's and I'm only going to send those out if there's a really a good incentive. That's the deal of the week. I learned a ton on that. A big thing I notice people do, and I'm guilty of this too, is you assume that people who might buy, oh, you know what? I wonder if this person, don't even worry about it. You're sending a text message to everybody in your contact, and you should assume that everybody is interested in it. And they're not going to be, and that's okay. But when you start having a mindset that thinks negative and, oh, I'm going to offend these people, I'm going to do that, it really plays with and that affects your message. That affects everything that you do. How I did this is I did a voice audio recording, just audio. And I did probably 3 takes of that, which I'll play now.
Todd Paton, it's been a long time, brother. Hope all's good, man. It's great following you on social media, man.
And then I did a simple message, just a short message. And I let them know, because remember, they're going to get a phone number, a message from me, but they don't know it's not saved. It's not going to save under Todd Paton, because it's a brand new number I just got with this texting company. So first sentence is, I'm letting you know I just started a new business, and this is my new phone number on that business. So that way they know it's you. And by the way, a lot of people replied to me saying, is this really you? Because nowadays there's so many fraud stuff out there. So I just responded to them quick saying, yes, that's me. Thanks so much for responding. And there. And my app is One Home is for everybody, anybody who's a homeowner in South Florida. So the majority of my contacts, I'd say, probably 90% of them are in South Florida, but they're all potential clients. And I'm offering a deal free for lifetime if you're the first 1,000 downloads. So you also not only target them to download the app, but you want them to be able to tell friends about it or pass it on. So it opens doors to other introductions, things like that. And you'll find out your contacts are gold. It's really incredible how valuable they are and how much people want to help you. So I had a positive and a negative response I'm going to talk about. I had a lot of positive. By the way, the overwhelming number of people that responded in a positive way was amazing. I was just blown away. And just to see these names and reconnect with people, it was a really cool experience. And again, people want to help. The best positive response I got was from a friend of mine, Jason, who lives out in Orlando. And, he owned a big landscaping business. And I learned a lot from Jason. He told me a ton. He called me and he said, meet me over here at the Boca Hotel and Boca Resort. And I met him there and met his wife. And, we connected after 10 years or something that I haven't spoken with him. I went to high school with him and it was great, educational. I learned. The biggest takeaway I got from this, and the most positive, we'll go first, is I had some very successful business people respond back, and I'm going to tell you maybe 20, 25 of them gave me feedback, and not only gave me feedback, but said, I'd love to help you. Let me know if you want to meet. And that sparked something on me. I said, wait a second, if they want to help, why don't I just create an advisory board? And that's what I did is I sent those people that I thought were, very valuable, whether they're in the industry or have sold businesses before or raised money or something along the lines of what I'm doing now that they could bring value. And I'm telling you, we have a ton of successful people that have done a lot in business, and I'm a sponge. I want to learn from them. I'm not, this is not my way or no way. It's, hey, tell me, how can I become better? If you're not constantly trying to improve yourself, you're failing, And so I sent emails to them and I said, would you be part of this advisory board? Just, and I don't want to add another board to them. And so I said, we'll meet once every quarter, and it'll probably be on Zoom or something like that. And everybody said yes, every single person. So that'll be an episode coming up where I'll talk to you about how that advisory board worked out. Amazing things are happening with that. But this all started from my contacts in my phone. Don't discredit that. It's so important. I will talk about one negative response I got. Only one out of 3,500 plus. There was one negative, and it was an ex-employee of all. I couldn't believe it. I was really, really shocked. But his reply was, no thanks, LOL. And that was to my text message, which you're looking at now. No thanks, LOL. First of all, I don't want to work with anybody. I don't want to be associated with anybody that has that kind of mindset. But whatever, for whatever reason, the person doesn't like me, that's fine. Not everybody's going to like me. I get that. That was a good thing, I think, even though it hurt. I'm not going to lie. I looked at that. I'm like, man, why would he do that? Why? What does he get out of that? What does that accomplish? If he doesn't want to help me, just ignore the email or what, but to say no thanks, LOL. I don't know. That really irritated me. And then I stopped and I said, you know what? That's a good thing, because if he didn't send that, who knows? I would have assumed that he was, and then it would have been down the road. It would have came back and bit me. So now I X that person out and out of my life, and that's it. I don't have any room for people like that, and that don't want to help out, and even if you don't want to help, that's fine. But to go out of your way to send a message like that on a response, that was not good, but a learning experience. And that's the takeaway here is I have a challenge sometimes with taking things personally. You get that and it's like, man, why would he do that? That's he was an employee of mine for a couple of years. And I wrote him a great reference letter. He got a great job, successful guy. He's doing amazing. And I love seeing the updates. He's doing awesome. But to see that was a little discouraging for me. It hurt, it's like, man, but then I realized you can't take this personal, because this is a business I'm building, and keep my emotions out of it and look at it as a learning experience and move on from that and focus on the 3,499 other people that were positive. And that's what I'm doing. Again, it's lonely being an entrepreneur, starting a new business. So having this support of people that like, and trust, it's unbelievable. It feels good. Thank you so much, and can't wait for the next episode, Daily Grind. I'm Todd Paton. Thank you.